You are listening to SheKings with Erica and Allie. This is a podcast for peasants who don't want to live shitty lives. Every week we share insights on how to stop living out of habit and start living out of inspiration. So let's do this.
All right.
Hey y'all, welcome to SheKings.
Hello. Episode 7.
Of season 2.
And the second one of the new year.
The second one of the new year.
Woo!
Allie, what do we do here?
I'm sorry?
What do we do here? What is SheKings all about?
Oh, I was just like, no, you need to clarify for me what So this is a good reminder for me, obviously. So SheKings, for those of you who don't know who we are and what we're all about, we like to come together every week to clarify overused spiritual buzzwords, right? So whatever that may be. There's so many, like the law of attraction.
Go with the flow.
Yeah, energy, let go, all of those things. And some little known spiritual concepts, and we like to clarify those so you can live a life with freedom and ease. So that is our purpose. That is why we do what we do, and we love what we do.
We do.
Yeah, absolutely. So welcome.
Yeah, welcome people. What's up with you, homie?
The new year and super excited. And so now we are talking into the future because we are pre-recording these. And so the talking into the future is that just setting the space, right? Setting the space of what is coming up, what we have going on.
Yeah. I'm trying to eat my stones so that I can like take their energy on fully.
Oh, wonderful.
So, yeah, this is the black tourmaline. And the thing is that the black stones, while super grounding and pulling away of energy that you don't need, they can be too grounding. So like if you find yourself getting like too down and depressed, then you need to, because they're like making a lot of jewelry now with the tourmaline and the obsidian, yoni eggs. They make a lot with the black obsidian. So you're getting rid of like all that negative energy that you may have stored up in your yoni. That's the vagina.
Yeah.
And so, but you have to be careful with all stones that you use. And so I'm not going to actually eat this, and it's totally off subject. So anyway,
What are we going to talk about today? What is our...
Well, first we're going to add a new segment called "The Universe is with you."
See,
I adore you.
Love that. I love that. I mean, the universe is laughing at you. It's pretty funny. But I
mean, we'll bring it back when it laughs, but a lot of the times it just like really adores you.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Yeah. So share.
Tell us
the story.
So there are some people in my life that bring me like quite a bit of annoyance, I guess. And I really wanted to, obviously, Christmas, New Year, this is just like those times when you're like with family and friends all the time. And I really wanted to just have a good experience over this last little while and be open, because Asha is my 2-year-old, is in my world. And so I'm like, don't be a stank bitch like you are wanting to do, like you like to be. Make sure the kid gets like exposure to all of the people. And I was, Ram Dass passed away over the holidays. Actually, on Asha's birthday, he passed away on December 22nd. And so I took the opportunity to go and listen to some of his stuff. And the universe was like fully in support of me. The universe adores me because he told a story of him being I think he was in Japan, and he had been studying Aikido. And his teacher was always like, you cannot use Aikido to actually hurt people unless you're really going to save someone or save something.
Right.
It's always only in self-defense. And he was talking about how he was on his train. This guy was really drunk, and he was like hitting people and like trying to kick this old lady in the back. It was completely ridiculous. And yeah, it's crazy. And Ram Dass was like, oh, now is my chance. It's Aikido time. And so he stood up. He stood up and he was like, you. But he knew that the guy needed to like come after him because it's Aikido. And he was like, I finally get to use Aikido in combat. You know, I've, only ever been taught to diffuse it and not use it, diffuse situations and not use it. And so the guy was like super happy, like, now I have somebody that I can target my drunk anger at. And he starts like stumbling over to Ram Dass. And then this older gentleman, like in his 70s and his 80s, was like, hey. And Ram Dass said that he said, hey, as if he were like shopping with a friend in the store and he found the thing they'd be looking for, like, hey. Like, and so the drunk guy, he and the drunk guy look at him, and he was like, says to the drunk guy, what have you been drinking? And the guy was like, what's it to you? Sake. And the old guy was like, oh, sake. I love sake. Every night, my wife and I, we drink sake out on our back porch, and we look at our persimmon tree, and it's just so wonderful. And he's like, you must drink sake with your wife sometimes. And the guy's like, no, my wife died, and I don't have a job. And the guy goes to this whole thing, and then this like massive drunk man like sits down next to the old guy and like lays in his lap and starts like crying to him, so freaking, like, I had tears in my eyes. And Ram Dass was saying that he felt really ashamed of himself, and as he was getting off the train, he looked back and he said, I have just seen Aikido in combat. And I was like, bitch, Ram Dass, I love you. And for me, it was one of those things where it was just like, okay, in the name of moving back to Holland and being around friends and family, and all of this spiritual growth that I've experienced, Ram Dass always says, if you think you're enlightened, go spend a week with your family.
Yeah, I saw that one.
And it was just like, I don't know, I was talking to my husband about it, and the universe adores me because it softened me as we were having over like a big group of friends and family for Asha's birthday, and just the holiday season. And so, yeah, the universe always sends me like beautiful stories like that. He knows I love stories. She knows I love stories. And I say she knows that I love stories. And and just perfect stuff like that. So that is the universe adores me.
I love it.
Okay,
cool.
So today we are talking about, I don't know, how do we say, is it like the other side of spirituality, or the dark side, or
I like how you presented it, like not using spirituality to get what you want.
Yeah. And understanding that it also doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So do you find yourself now or ever having used spirituality to get what you want, Allie? Or do you see that with clients?
Yes and no. I mean, like, I didn't want to be in law enforcement anymore. Mm-hmm. So, I use spirituality, the concepts of it, seeing clients, all of that stuff to shift me out of law enforcement work. So yeah.
But I mean more like So I feel like I have clients, and even myself, when I first started with spirituality, it was definitely yoga and meditation.
Right.
But after I did my first long meditation, I feel like I felt like everything was supposed to be good from there on out.
Ah,
And that I had made it somewhere. And I see that a lot with my clients as well, where, you work with me for a few months, you work with me for a year, whatever it is, and life really does start to shift and you
yeah.
start to feel so good. But then, you know, I saw with myself, like when something went wrong, I would be like, oh my God, like, how do I get my next hit of spirituality so that I can feel better? And I feel like I'm starting to see things differently now. Do you know what I mean?
I do. No, I do. Because there is that concept of if you are in the spiritual world, if you do come from a place of uh, selflessness or whatever, then everything's going to be wonderful. Everything is
Mm-hmm.
going to line up for you. And that's not the case. That's not the case at all, because spirituality does not say that in any way. And it doesn't say or support that this is good, this is bad. It
Yeah.
literally supports all experiences. We're the ones that say this is good, this is bad.
Yes.
So if you have a challenging moment or an experience, and then you go back to, oh my gosh, this is happening because I didn't meditate, or I totally got out of my spiritual path. It's like, no, that's not why. Because it's what spirituality does for you is to help you respond differently to the challenges that are coming up. The challenges will always be there. It's how you
Yeah.
respond to them that makes spirituality so profound. It makes you think,
Absolutely.
oh, this is why I'm doing it, is because now this is coming up and I totally see it differently. I have a different feel towards it. That's what it's for. It's not to have everything just like, oh, so perfect.
Yeah,
Right?
it's not an immunity. It's not a bubble that's gonna protect you from
Right.
anything bad ever happening.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if I ever said this on SheKings, but I remember in my second yoga teacher training, the person who taught the philosophy was talking about this like old yogi who, people know pretty well. And one of the people in my teacher training, all of whom I love, thank you guys for listening. But one of the people, I don't even remember which one, said, didn't he die of cancer? As if that like discredited the fact that he was an awesome yogi. I don't know if he's supposed to be enlightened or what enlightenment even means, but it was like, if anything dark or bad happens to you, then you're not a spiritual person. And when you believe that for somebody else, it's just a reflection of what you believe for yourself. Like, if anything dark or bad happens to me, then I haven't done it right, or I'm not spiritual enough, or I need to be on my medication cushion in the morning and in the evening. And it's like kind of just, it's like really self-flagellation and so much judgment of other people when you hold the belief that spirituality is going to protect you from anything bad or negative happening
Yeah.
in your life.
And I love it. I love that thing that you posted about that guru.
Which one?
That I don't even remember the name, but he was accused of some sexual misconduct again.
Oh yeah, my
Like,
friend posted that. Yeah.
oh my gosh. And it's like we have this idea of spirituality where if you're a leader, if you're this, if you're that, then you should be like untouchable. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, no, we're all humans. And I think
Yeah,
that the story that we created around Jesus to like just, I mean, Jesus was a man. He,
an
I
actual man.
an actual man, and he was a human. But I know things were just, well, let's not mention that, and let's not mention that, let's not mention, maybe him and Mary did have a situation. Like, nope, let's not, because we created, this is what perfection looks like. And so
Mm-hmm.
this is what needs to be obtained if you're going to call yourself whatever, any type of religion or a spiritual person. It's like, no, it's like
Yeah,
we're here to have experiences. It's how we respond to them. That's when you start to tap into the spirituality of yourself.
Absolutely.
Nothing else, just yourself. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
I think it's entertaining when people freak the fuck out when a guru or someone that they looked up to is having sex with you. Like, well, yeah, why wouldn't he? Like, come on.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And this is SheKings. Like, if you, guess what? As my friend says, he has a podcast called The Joy Revolution. He says, you can't shut me down. And guess what? You bitches can't shut SheKings down. So everybody cry today, because guess what? All of these fucking gurus who are getting booty, like, what are you talking about? Like, we have all, as strong women and strong men of like fucking consciousness, we've all got to stand up and realize that, yes, they are just men. But I watched that Bikram documentary. I don't know if you watched it. It's on Netflix. But I watched this Bikram documentary, and people are like, oh, you know, he's a garbage human being. And I'm like, he might very well be a garbage human being. It's true. But the fact that people were like, well, he controlled my financial well-being, because it was up to him whether or not I can open a studio that had the Bikram name on it. He controlled my financial well-being. So when he asked me to massage his penis, or when he asked me, or when he forced me to have sex with him, or when he tried to push me up against, I'm sorry, you like penis massage, don't you, Allie?
I'm just laughing as just women and people like just blame. It's like
They're
said,
super blaming him.
Let me rub your penis as long as I can get a studio, but then it didn't happen. It's like, oh, that's your fault. Like,
or it does happen, and then you're mad because you didn't want to rub his penis. But we have got to own the fact that we are powerful fucking creators. You don't have to rub penises, right? And like, you don't have to, and like this concept that like your life has become so myopic that you can't see how you can have a living without Bikram. But how did you live before you met Bikram?
yes.
You know, you have got to be willing to say, for my goddamn peace of mind, here we go. And, you know, stepping out and doing this, one woman said she stood up because she had a daughter and she just couldn't let this thing continue to go on. And I totally understand that. And I would just say that from my perspective, having a daughter, I try my very, very best to own my shit. And one of the things that I realized about myself is that I also have a tendency towards victimhood, and I don't want to pass that shit to her. And so I had to own that. And so blaming gurus is a hard pass. And I don't know how we got onto this, but this is an example of how Allie and I really talk.
Right. But it's that whole spirituality, thinking that spiritual people, the concept of
are flawless,
has to look a certain way, right? Mm-hmm. And so then that brings up another concept is if you're on your spiritual path and you're putting somebody on a pedestal, you've already fucked up the whole spiritual thing. So when you put Jesus on a pedestal, when you put Buddha, when you put any of these gurus on a pedestal, you're basically saying you are separate from me. Mm-hmm. I am not as good or worthy as. And that is not spirituality. Spirituality is truly understanding the concept that we are one, and everybody's spiritual path is going to look different. So to use spirituality to justify anything, to support some type of victimhood or a letdown or disappointment, that is, you're still coming from that place of ego, just like the person that you were following and that you were setting up on a pedestal has been using it for.
1000%. And you know, I see it with myself, and why people put me on a pedestal, especially when I'm honest as fuck. Like, I curse all the time, and I like am a wild girl. I'm fucking wild. And like, you know me at all, take me down today. But for Christmas, I got a Labradorite crystal necklace, stone. And my cousin said to me, oh, if you, I didn't know that. And then I was eating meat. And she said, I didn't know that people who people who take stones, like you take a stone, people who are into that sort of thing, oh, I thought they all didn't eat meat. And I was just like, girl, let me have a conversation with you. Okay. Like, you have got to choose your own path. And if you think the fact that, all you spiritual people listening, the fact that you don't eat meat makes you a better person, I've got news for you. And if you think that you have the space to judge somebody from some place of moral superiority, I've got news for you. That is absolutely ego. And spirituality never said that, I don't know, it was just going to look a certain way. And I find what people are trying to do is find a place to land. And that's why I shared that guru thing. People are all trying to find some savior, some way of living that's going to guarantee them some sort of perfection. So if I don't eat meat, if I meditate, if I go to yoga, if I go to church, if I, don't fly too much because it hurts the environment, if I do all these things, then I will be this like absolute perfect being. And, Allie and I today are suggesting to you that you throw that shit in the trash.
Yeah.
Because life is going to be ever changing and ever evolving. And to my clients who come to me who are in a state of, this bad thing is happening, or this bad thing is still happening, and I'm doing everything we talked about, I always have to say to them, well, you're doing everything except for the most important thing. And that is going to your mind for answers. You're still, trying to make sense of life rather than living life. Whatever problem has shown up for you, whatever good thing has shown up for you, it's going to pass. Live it, experience it, and let it go through without catching it with your mind and looking at it in every different way. Oh, I just found out I had a really massive bill. I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford to pay it. Spirituality doesn't work now. No, it still works. Spirituality says it will work itself out.
Yeah.
Be in peace.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what spirituality gives us the opportunity to do, for that example, such as, all the examples, I have a bill, I don't know how I'm going to pay it. Spirituality allows you to tap into that part of you that you don't even know exists, to manifest something, to create something, to trust something that you can't see, right? I'm going to,
absolutely.
I have no idea what it's going to look like. And so if people are on the spiritual path, and going back to Bikram, I want to open a yoga studio. I don't want to go this route by rubbing his penis. When you tap into that, when you let go of that connection of it has to be Bikram, the universe will send you something else to do, send you else to open. It's when you say, this is my only way to this. That's when you limit yourself. That's when you get stuck. And then you're angry because of the outcome, right? You're angry
Absolutely.
because of the bill. So spirituality is always there, but it looks in so many different forms. It shows up in so many different ways. And it's just being open to that. That is spirituality. It doesn't have to look like A, B, C, or D. It just doesn't.
Exactly.
And so that is just using that to allow you to move and to flow through your life and trusting it. That is spirituality, not to have an outcome of something or to put your trust and faith into someone outside of you is everything. So don't, if you abuse it, you're basically not accepting it within yourself. That's what
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's spirituality. The question is always asked when you get deep into it, is who are you? Who are you?
Yeah.
And when you understand who you are, you will understand why it's called spirituality. And when you understand that you are a spirit having a human experience, all of this other stuff, not a bill, not a relationship gone wrong, not a dis-ease, that stuff, but the human side of you, and you are human, and embrace that. The human side of you, your heart may drop. You may feel, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? But when you remember who you are, you know that you're taken care of. When you have that trust, you know that it's fine. And so I say to people who have fallen into that trap of um, spirituality should look a certain way. Spirituality should save me and I should always feel good. I say to them, step away from these stories that your mind has created. Step away from these ideas that your mind has created around what spirituality is and what you're supposed to have, and fucking live your life as it is.
Yeah.
Not your mind, not in your mind. That's worry. That's living life in your mind. Live it. Live it. Let your mind be quiet. Whether you need to learn to meditate or do whatever, let your mind be quiet and take the next right step. They will always come. You'll always have a breadcrumb. You'll always have a direction for you to go. So that's that. I hope it makes sense. And now the question is homework. What's the homework, Allie?
I would say have people write what you want spirituality to do for you. Like, or just like, what do you want to do? And then really sit with it, and then write, how can I be open for however it's supposed to show up?
Oh, for each one. I freaking love that. I think that too many people come to spirituality, myself included. It's how I started, with a beggar's bowl, asking for a handout.
Yeah.
And I would love to know what everybody is asking spirituality for. What do you think it's going to give you? And then what's the second question?
And then how can you be open to just realizing where it's really coming from? Like, it's you, and being open to however it's supposed to show up. So it's that same concept of I want a partner, and I want this partner to bring security and peace and show me how amazing I am, right? That's what you want from the partner. But instead, focusing on how can I bring that to myself? How can I be open to see those qualities in myself? Why am I waiting for a partner to show up and do it for me? So that's like spirituality. It's a partnership, but it's truly seeing it within yourself. So what are you focusing on? This is what I want spirituality to do for me, whether it's to be healthy, to live long, to do all these things. It's like, no, okay, now how can I tap into myself to be like, okay, how can I make these things happen? How can I partnership with myself to kind of let go of these ideas of maybe sickness, of fear?
Yeah, because I think that, another way, another question could be, how can I accept it? How can I, like, spirituality is never going to fix it. And Ram Dass, since you brought him up, used the example of balding. He was like, no matter how spiritual I get, this hair is not growing back. And so there are certain things that, whatever you're coming to spirituality for, you may never ever get it. And so just getting in that space where you're saying, I'm willing to accept this as it is, I think is
I love
awesome.
That.
All right, girl. I actually am supposed to be on with a client.
All right.
I need to hop off. But
find us on all the places. iTunes, give us a recording. Find us on Instagram. You know where we are. And start interacting with us. And we appreciate it so much.
Yeah. Absolutely. And all of our information of how you can contact us will be in the notes. We would love to hear from you.
Yes. All right. Bye.
Bye.